Dave Angeloni, and welcome to We All Have Shit, the only bi-weekly podcast that tries to take an honest look at what ails us and moves us forward into the lives we lead. Our show can be accessed through the YouTube channel, the We All Have Shit podcast. We will conduct our show with comfort, realism, and sensitivity. Anything that might be difficult for us is on the table. We are all human, and we all have things in common. Moreover, we were created to exist in a social context and to help each other as best we can. This will not be a bitch fest, nor a complaint zone, nor a place for negativity. Rather, we will strive to maintain positivity and enthusiasm during the challenges we face, because life is here and life is now. Finally, while I may have been a trained and experienced professional counselor in a past life, this is not me now, and this is not our show. Rather, we will simply do our best to shed some light on our troubles, talk about how we are dealing with them, and hopefully make some positive contributions to the world around us. So, welcome everybody. Our summer schedule has been a little bit less than it had been earlier, but thank you all for tuning in here as our summer is gently drawing to a close. I'm happy to be at this podcast here tonight. Tonight we have a special guest. I have a family member here. This is my cousin Kate. Kate, how are you? And Kate, what is your shit?
Well, I'm chugging along, and that's what I tell everybody. My shit is constant. I feel like I have 10 pounds of life in a 5-pound day every day.
That's good. Okay.
But you know, you chip away at it, and you do what you can, what you're capable of, and I like to call those days blue ribbon days.
Blue ribbon days. Okay.
Anytime I check something off of that list, whether it be something as simple as I made my parents lunch and I did a load of laundry, that's a blue ribbon day for me.
I like it. So you take like small victories, if you will, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Every one I can find, because if you lose sight of those, it gets tough, and it gets tough really quick, and then before you know it, you're in the weeds and you don't know how to get out.
Yeah, when you said that first analogy that you dropped there, the 10 pounds of life in 5-pound days, I used to have a coach, or said like 2 pounds of sugar in a 1-pound bag and stuff like that. It is. There's 100 different ways to say that, right? It's just life. Yeah. Sometimes life is too much than what you could handle sometimes.
And it seems to be, that just seems to be how life is anymore.
Okay. Okay.
It's every day. It's
okay. All right. So,
like I said, you manage through it the best way that you can.
That's all you could do. Do. Okay. So I'm going to touch on this a little bit, and again, feel free to interrupt or shut me up or tell me go to hell, whatever you'd rather, as a family member. So one thing that your dad and I have in common is MS, right? And your dad is not a genetic relative, right? Your mom is my blood aunt, right? So my mom, We All Have Shit podcast audience, my mom is one of 3. She's the oldest. Kate's mom is the youngest.
The baby.
The baby, right? And Kate's mom was always my cool, younger aunt. And she still is. And I say that to Aunt Carol, love you. But she married Uncle Jeff, right? So Uncle Jeff's not a blood relative, but he's got MS too, right? And he got diagnosed how many years ago, Kate?
I want to say back in 2002, 2003, something like that.
Okay. So it's a long time he's been dealing with it, and you've been dealing with it. Okay. So your shit partially involves the care, right? And of course, the love is there that you have, and there's a lot of adult children who are in positions like that as caregivers, right? In one form or another, right? But talk, like, what is your form? Like, what does that bring to your life?
Well, when he was first diagnosed, he was still mostly capable of just about everything.
Okay.
I mean, he couldn't work because he didn't have the longevity
Okay.
or the endurance to continue. But he was a workhorse his
Right.
whole life. He worked 80 hours a week in a steel mill.
Yeah. Yeah.
So. And I joke with him now. I say, well, maybe you overdid it back in your 20s and 30s and 40s because this might be life's way of telling you slow the hell down now.
God. When I was in college, I used to spend occasional weekends with you guys, and your dad, he was a steel worker, and he was the guy up on the steel beams working the 70, 80-hour weeks, and he was a workhorse. Could do anything, workhorse. Okay, so then it changed, obviously.
It changed dramatically, and it didn't seem to be that difficult right off of the bat, and I think the reason for that was everybody says that when you get diagnosed with MS, it really does take a toll on you. This was a man that for 30 years of his life worked hard, was strong, he focused, and all of a sudden he was told, you can't do this anymore. You can't work anymore. And he was like, the hell with that. And he really did. I mean, yard work, he would do it. He would do it at his own pace, but he would do it. But over the years, his ability to do that has gotten little by little less and less.
Right. And then
and now we are at a point where he can do the last time he was out there, he wanted to weed the garden, and he asked for permission. He did ask for permission. He said, "Are you going to be out here for a little bit so that I can watch you?" I said, "Yeah, sure." So he goes out to the garden and he's weeding the garden, and he was only out there for about 25 minutes, maybe tops.
Okay.
And I noticed he was having a hard time standing up. So I yelled to him. I said, "Do you need help?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "What do you need help with?" He said, "I don't know." I said, "Okay, he's cooked."
Okay.
So I had to go out there with him, and I had to bring his walker out into the middle of the yard, and by the time he got maybe 5 feet away from where he was, his legs were physically giving out on him. And I had to hold him under his armpits as he was trying to make it another 20 feet to the porch so that he could sit down.
Wow.
So, and it was one of those moments where you can't cry about it. You can't make him feel bad. You can't yell at him. You can't get frustrated.
Yeah, and he already feels bad about it already. Right? And so that's, thank you for painting the picture a little bit, right? With your intro kind of explanation about your dad, like who he is and who he was as a worker, right? So just imagine that. And it could be with physical labor or cognitive tasks, like whatever your thing is, like we are all workers in something, like whatever you do, whatever your passion is, right? And then he's stricken with this thing, and it just rips it away from him, and now he's like asking permission. Can I weed the garden?
He's like, asking his daughter if he can go out to the yard for a little bit.
Damn.
And I like to let him do these things as he is able. Because it gives him that sense of I still got it. I can still do it, you know? Simple things like taking the trash out to the curb and bringing the trash can back to the carport the next day. These are the tiniest little tasks for able-bodied young individuals.
Right.
But someone who's been dealing with MS for the last 30 years and has hit another decline period, it's monumental.
Kate, that's amazing perspective on your part, and the fact that that mentally is one thing, but emotionally, the fact that you're capable for the most part of granting that like with grace and dealing with it. That's challenging, right? But I give you so much credit for having that.
Thank you.
I mean that. I really mean that.
But you know what? That was learned over the years.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
I mean, that didn't happen overnight. You know, there are periods of frustration, and there are periods of like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
You know, like, what are you doing? Don't do that. You know. But you learn, and this was why I was excited to talk with you about it, because there are a lot of people that live in MS homes that understand things differently than well-meaning family members or friends that really don't have a concept of what goes on in an MS home.
Right.
You know, I mean, however well-meaning they are, when they ask us to go to a function, they don't understand what that ask is for him.
And it varies and things like that, right? So sometimes you may be able to go, you may not be able to go. Or if you go, you might be able to...
It depends on how far. It depends on how long. It depends on what the activity is. Are we going to be sitting too long? Is he going to be standing too long? You know?
Yeah. We've had those...
There's a lot of factors. And and just leaving the house is such a production that... It wipes him out some days. You know, he gets overwhelmed with just the thought of doing these big, extravagant things.
Because he knows what it's going to bring to him. You know? Yeah, we've had those discussions, you and I personally, about whatever event or party, right? So we live about 2 hours or so away from each other. So it's far, but not that far.
About an hour and a half if I'm driving.
Yeah. If you're driving. So it's far, but not that far, right? So you could technically do stuff from time to time. But yeah, there's challenges like associated with that have to be considered. Right?
Yeah.
And that's hard. That's hard.
And that's what so many people don't understand.
Okay.
And that's also part of the hard part, is because, you know, they look at it and they're like, what do you mean you can't come?
Yeah.
We're only this far away.
Right.
You know, it's only a dinner.
Yeah.
But the dinner is in, you know, some fancy restaurant where, you know, he's got to park all the way over here and he's got to make it into there. And then what if he needs to sit down or lay down because he doesn't feel well, you know?
Yeah.
We have to exit early, and it becomes a whole production. And that's what people really don't understand, is it's in the moment. You have to figure out, is this going to work? Is it not going to work? Can we make it work? Or is it just too much and we have to decline?
That's so hard. And the reality, Kate, is that like all of us human beings, right? Like you have personal things that in your life that are like all of us, like good and bad and easy and hard, right? But as a caregiver, you're kind of putting your stuff on the back burner.
Well, you have to.
Regularly.
You know, you have to.
But over time, right, like repeatedly, that must get really crazy hard. Like you and I were talking a little bit before we got on. So my mom passed, right? Your Aunt Mare passed 8 years ago, right? So my dad...
8 years.
Yeah, I know, right? So my dad is still kicking, right? And he says, like every morning, he gets up and he's still kicking. So that's what he always says. And largely, I mean, he's doing great. He's doing great, right? And he's not a live-in. We don't live with him. He doesn't live with us. But you know what? He is super duper great, or he's tough, you know?
Yeah.
And we got to balance, you know? So I could only empathize with what you're dealing with. I mean that.
Finding the balance is tough.
Yeah.
Finding the balance is really tough, especially, you know, I work 2 jobs.
Okay.
In addition to the chaos that is my home.
Okay.
I have a boyfriend.
Okay.
And in fact, his mother has MS as well.
Oh my God.
And his brother has Down syndrome. So
Oof.
He is life path-wise, he is very similar with me in the caretaker role, and the only one in the house that is driving and has to do all of the doctor's appointments and the grocery shopping. And
that's incredible. Wow.
So he and I have really bonded with each other over that. And as far as balance goes, he's absolutely a breath of fresh air.
That's awesome. That is. I mean, that's awesome. And sometimes, like, we don't foresee, right, who's who's next in our lives, kind of. So he came into your life. It sounds like he was custom built a little bit,
right?
To understand where you're coming from and stuff like that. That's awesome. That is. That's awesome. You have each other.
Yeah, it was pretty wild when I learned that about him before we had started dating.
Okay.
And it's there's certain pieces of life and struggles that we deal with that teach us how to deal with things further. And he was right on that same path that I had found myself on.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
And he's been really, really great. And he helps where I can't. So.
You know what? And that's I think, and this is just a own little personal kind of thing, right? You make each other better.
Yeah.
In some way. Right now, there's other parts that drive each other crazy, and that's part of life, right? But generally speaking, no, that's good. So he came at a time, helps you deal with like what's next, what's coming up, and things like that, right. For you. So you mentioned 2 jobs, you got chaos at home, but it sounds like you have a good support.
I do.
In your life. That's
I do.
Awesome.
Between my boyfriend and my son and my future daughter-in-law.
Great.
That's another piece of the craziness, but that's a good piece. So again, balance.
All right.
They will be getting married next year, which is exciting.
Awesome. Okay. All right.
But also nerve-wracking because it's a really big event.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Did you ever foresee yourself as a mother-in-law, Kate? So Kate's my younger cousin, so I have to ask stupid questions like that. So
absolutely. I always thought I was going to have more than one kid, but that's all right. I had the perfect kid right off the bat. I didn't have to have any more.
He is awesome. I agree. So those are life realities, that we all have. You're talking about kids, and you're talking about like good changes in life, right? We're talking about relationships and things like that. Those are all positive, right? But
they're positive, but it doesn't mean less stressful.
You got it. It's stress. It's positive, but it's positive stress. So So you could be planning a perfect wedding with the perfect people and everything like that. So it's all positive, but God, there's so much stress sometimes that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So balancing this stuff with your dad, reality and things like that. That's challenging. You mentioned the beginning of our talk here, Blue Ribbon Days. Where'd you get that?
Blue Ribbon Days.
Yeah, I never heard that before. Where'd you get that phrase from?
You know what? I'm not even sure. I was going through my Facebook memories a couple of days ago, which I don't often do, but I just so happened to. And I had posted something maybe like 10, 12 years ago that said something about a Blue Ribbon Day. So I guess I've been saying it for a lot longer than I realized.
I like it.
But I've definitely latched onto it over the last year or two.
Yeah, I like it because it's like it speaks to positivity, but the goal of it is kind of hazy. In other words, what might be a Blue Ribbon Day today might look different tomorrow, right? So every day it varies, and that's okay, right? It's still it's a Blue Ribbon Day. You know what?
You have to find that, like I said, that just chip away at whatever you can that day, and take that accomplishment and call it what it is. You accomplished something.
I love it.
And you did a good job, and pat yourself on the back, because none of us get enough of that in our everyday life.
That's the truth.
You have to be your own support system too,
Yes.
That talking yourself up and that reassuring yourself, I've found to be really helpful and really important in my life.
Positive self-talk, and I think like that's to a degree like human nature. Like we sometimes, like we all have self-talk, right? Mm-hmm. But inherently sometimes we do negative self-talk, right? I should have done this. I should not have done that. Why can't I do this better? Why can't I do that better? Things like that. And I think that's normal to an extent, but it's
easy to get lost in that loop, though.
Easy, right?
It's really, really easy to not forgive yourself, or to come down hard on yourself, or to treat yourself with a lack of compassion.
There you go. I love that.
And it's so important. I like to treat myself like I'm my own best friend. Like, if I had a friend that was going through something that I'm going through.
Okay.
And that friend asked me for advice on that situation, what would be the advice that I gave to that friend? Would I come down on that friend and say, well, you were stupid, you didn't do it right,
Never,
what the hell were you thinking? No, I wouldn't. I would be positive, and I would say, look, man, it's okay. Like, you just made a mistake, and that's all right. You got to pick yourself up now and do it again.
That's awesome. Kate, you got to be careful, Kate, because you're a young girl, but you have the wisdom of an old person.
I'm not that young anymore.
You got to watch, man. You're speaking like an old wise person there. You got to watch.
I know.
I know.
You know what though? It took a lot of practice. It took about 20 years of practice to get my mentality to where it is now. Well, and I still struggle with it.
Of course you do. We all do, right? But you know what? That's the kind of practice that's so valuable, right? Like we say like wrinkles. Right? Scars matter, right? They matter because it denotes a life that you've lived, mistakes that have been made, right? Battle scars, like wars that you fought and lost maybe, but you know what? You learned from them, and now you're wiser. You know more. More. Yeah, you're doing the best you can. That is awesome. Blue Ribbon Days balance. Wow, that's deep, Kate. That is deep. I love it. Okay, so
I'm here for it, cousin Dave. I love this stuff.
You're the best. You're the best. So prognosis right now. Dad's hanging in there right now.
Dad's hanging in there. We've our stress this last week or so has been visiting nurses and physical therapists and speech therapists.
Okay. So he has home support. That's good.
But yeah, that's a very recent thing.
Good. Okay.
But again, it's been chaotic because we've got the two dogs who, bark at every little fly in town from a mile away, and we have a visitor come for an hour, and it's a calamity.
Yeah, I bet.
But it's okay because it saves me from having to drive them to where they need to go and then worry if, the one that I left here, whether it's my mom or my dad who has a doctor's appointment.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about who's left home and if the dogs, knocked one of them down or if one of them got outside and did something they weren't supposed to do.
Yeah.
So, again, balance.
Okay.
It's better that they come here. And it's nice that they're able to.
That's true. I mean, honestly, before the medical profession evolved to doing home visits for that or other things, is very different, right? So to have an ability to do that is amazing, right? And I know your mom's dealing with a leg thing that she injured, right?
Yeah, she injured her knee.
Yeah.
And that's been a struggle.
Yeah. And that's
quite some time now. So any day now that'll turn around.
That's good.
I'm ready for that.
That's good. No, she's
This
the
is
best.
my positive thinking. I haven't heard from a doctor, but this is my positive.
Sometimes there's no logic to positive thoughts, and that's okay.
Yeah, no, you just have to will it.
You need to have that. Yeah, you have to make your own reality, right, Kate? I love it.
Law of attraction at work.
I love that. I love it. Okay. So we're about ready to wrap up here. Okay. So I want to just say this in kind of to draw to a close. As those of you who listen to the We All Have Shit podcast may know, the guest has a special opportunity here to close out with a final thought. So Kate, I'm gonna pass that ball over to you. What do you say? What's a good final thought for us tonight?
I think the good final thought, to sum everything up, is something that I have been clinging to for the last 2 years now, roughly.
Okay.
even a little bit of progress is progress.
Even a little bit of progress is progress.
Even a little bit of progress is progress. If you wake up and you see that your laundry needs to be folded, and you only have the energy to fold one pair of pants, and you do that every day, all of a sudden your laundry is folded.
That a girl.
And you have to be patient with yourself, and you have to know that a step in the right direction is still moving forward.
That strikes a chord with me. Just to divulge a bit with my messed up mentality, like I'm that person that has like a either mentally or maybe it's a physical list every day that this is what my personal goals are, like boom, 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 like what I want to get done today. And there's some days I could do it and some days I can't. But when I can't do it, I get down on myself. I'm like, damn, and I do that. So that's good. Even a little bit of progress.
Even a little bit of progress is progress. And even that one step, that gives you a blue ribbon day.
Kate, you're helping me, man. I love it.
I hope so.
I love it. All right, I'm going to tell myself that, and I'm going to invite you to text me, call me, yell at me any day randomly.
I would never yell at you, cousin. I would never.
You don't have to have a reason. You could just do that and say, even a little bit of progress is progress. I'm like, she's right. I love it. I love it.
It's tough. It's tough to really get it to anchor in. But if you just tell yourself that every day, you start to feel better about the things that you're doing in your everyday life that need to be done. We're all human. We all have shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you find the stuff that you have the energy for, that you have the capacity for, and you do the best that you can. And what you don't get to, you try again tomorrow. And that's the whole freaking point.
There's always tomorrow. I love that. I love it. So I want to say one last thing here, just to open up. So Kate and I have been talking for a while now about doing this, and this is my first remote podcast recording, right? So this, we were figuring out technology-wise how to do this, and we tried 2 or 3 different things, and none of them worked. So this is a real effort that we're doing here with technology to make this happen. So this is the first template. Maybe, Kate, right? So I might be able to do this with other people, other friends, like around the country and what have you. So you are my first one here, Kate. So I appreciate that.
I'm happy to be the guinea pig.
You're the greatest. You're the greatest guinea pig. I appreciate it. So thank you. So thank you all. Thank you, Kate. Thank you everyone for spending time with us and for listening to We All Have Shit. Remember, even though we will always have some kind of shit in our lives, the best we can do is stay positive, have faith, and help where we can. So until next time, onward.